So, remember we had a session around crawl for AI, right? So, crawl for AI technically is a standard LLM or is it a agent? So, a s- it uses a standard LLM. It's not an agent. To understand why, like I said, if you remember, we had a library called Playwright. It relies very, very heavily on the input and output of Playwright. Okay. And now we are going to talk about something called as browser agent. Uh, and to be honest, crawl for AI is very, very impressive because it is able to emulate an agent. You might think it is an agent, but under the hood, it isn't. But to be honest, it's as good as an agent, right? The technicality may not matter, but for all intents and purposes, it does exactly the same things as most browser agents do. Okay. So we've already talked about this in the previous Crawl for AI lecture as well, that there are some good frameworks like Selenium and Beautiful Soup, and there are some rules. You can literally write rules in Selenium and Beautiful Soup that find an element using this specific path or this specific CSS selector, right? But again, if you remember, these are not good approaches because websites are dynamic and developers can change the code no whenever they want. They are not bound by your requirements. They are bound by the customer's requirements. Okay. uh, even even a minor change can basically ensure that the entire script fails. Okay, just give me a second, please. So, even a minor change like changing any element ID or adjusting the page layout can cause the entire script to fail. And yeah, that's it. We all know this story, right? Because we all have worked on name. Mihir, I am unable to get the 1.5 API key. Can you give some advice? Until and unless you give me a screenshot or something around the error, not really Mir. But I will take that up at the end of the lecture. Please do not, I know these are the final 2 days. Please do not interrupt me with the other questions. Okay. Okay. So what if you could give a brain to your browser, right? So this is what are called browser agents. And again, it's like at the end of the day, what do you use a browser for? You use a browser to access websites and to perform some activities, right? And why can a agent not do that? We know that when agents are given tools, they are capable of a lot of things, right? So why not, do things like find the top 10 top tech articles today. We can create a crew AI agent, or we can create a browser agent as well. The advantage of a browser agent would be that many websites don't allow scraping by bots, scraping by agents, right? So crew AI would fail in such a scenario. Will not fail, but maybe for example, let's say uh, good website is, for example, there's a blog that I follow a lot. It's called Uber Engineering blog, and it's literally, yeah, that's that Uber, and I follow these guys a lot. Uh, so they have not just um, blogs around data science, but many around data engineering and the future of tech, not just AI, right? So that is what I like to do. So I tried to scrape this, but they have very powerful anti-scraping bots, right? So no crawl for AI, no crew AI, but then can I use a browser agent? And you will see that a browser agent literally opens up uh, uh, a browser, right? Does the search for you, literally acts like a human, and it does what you ask. In fact, not just search, it can like do payment based actions as well. Book the cheapest flight to New York, right? So what I'm going to do, I should have shared my entire screen. What I am going to do is, yeah, I'll just close a few things and share my entire screen and uh, open this as a GIF. Why it did not load as a GIF? Hmm. So let's just look at this output. Maybe we'll have to wait for it. So I'll actually have to wait for it till it reaches one because this is a GIF, right? It is a GIF file, right? Can anybody make an educated guess what is the task I have asked? Search for software engineering jobs in India. So search Google for software engineering. It will solve the captcha. Then it will solve this. I don't know what it's called. Is it called reCAPTCHA or something like that? It failed. It tried. It's going to try again, and then it succeeded. Then trying to search for bus. Then it succeeded again, and then it will literally try to map which are what are software engineerings, extract the software list and everything. Just wanted to show you guys the output first. Is this nice? So literally, an agent is opening up a browser. Literally, uh, they okay. So why bots fail captcha? Because captcha is hard to solve even for humans, let alone bots. Okay. Uh, anyway, literally, it is going to opening up a browser. It is searching Google for software engineering jobs in India. Then it is clearing the captcha. This is something that both Crew AI and Crawl for AI will fail at absolutely, right? Will Crew AI be able to solve a captcha until and unless I add a another agent? Okay. No, I don't think so. Then it will literally open up LinkedIn, search for software jobs, in the jobs portal, right? And then do everything. So this is the output that I wanted to show you guys. Okay. We'll not, let me just, I have a question. Sometimes when I use Google or VPN, I get into an endless loop, even if I solve them. Uh, Jayesh, the bot will be able to solve it. But what would happen is that it will use a lot of tokens. To be honest, I just forgot how many tokens this uses, and I just ran this experiment that I showed you guys the GIF of, like 15 minutes before the class, and I got charged with a bill of $20, not $20, $19.82. So I'm not going to run it again. So even for a free user, I do not recommend using more than 2.0 flash because it uses a lot of tokens. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Okay. So, uh, how do browser agents work? So they basically have three things to work with. They have the eyes, the brain, and the hands. So the eyes are basically they take literally take a screenshot of the web page, and they literally analyze the HTML. We saw how each of the HTML page was being tagged with borders and boxes. We saw that. Yes? No? That is what the eyes does, right? It tries to understand the HTML or the DOM object of the HTML. It tries to identify the page layout and identify the elements, and then classify the difference between elements and interactive elements. Okay. And like I said, it also takes screenshots. So it allows, so for example, we can set the dimensions of the browser. If I want to make a very small browser, it can use that. Or if you choose Firefox, or if you choose Google Chrome, or just how we could choose in Safari, this can we can choose over here as well. And dimensions of a browser basically mean the size of the browser, so I can like reduce this, increase this. Okay. Window size, dimensions, yeah, that they call it dimensions, so I use the term dimensions. Okay. So, yeah, this is how where the computer vision also works. Okay. Then the brain, all of the identified layouts, all of the boxes, the bounding boxes, the coordinates of the layout, the coordinates of the elements, the interactive elements, they are literally saved in a JSON along with a screenshot and sent to the LLM, which basically will act as a decision making engine, right? So the LLM takes this input, takes what the user has asked, and analyzes the data from and breaks the task down into basically what should I be doing next, right? So the hands, I would like to iterate one thing, just reiterate one thing, that we are not moving away from Playwright or Selenium. Well, we will be using Playwright because we'll be using Google Colab or things like that. But yeah, we are not moving away from Playwright. Okay. To perform actions like clicking, typing, scrolling, etc., we will be using Playwright. And this is an existing framework of browser automation. It just used to run on rules, so I'm not going to explain it. Okay, because this framework like has existed for like 30 years now. It's all probably older than I am. Okay. So this is basically a loop: observe, decide, act. The eyes observe, the brain decides, the hands act. Is that understood? So again, please note that you don't need to go into the absolute depth of browser agents. This is all the conceptual theory you need. Okay? Understood? But the point is that you should understand this theory. You should understand eyes, brain, hands. Okay? Okay. So I'm not going to talk you through the key capabilities and use cases. You guys can already, think of them. Web scraping, data extraction, form submission, cross application workflows that require multiple websites. There's a complex research. Okay. Okay. How to install? Again, not much to talk about over here. Just install. So this needs to be before. Sorry. You cannot install browser use without this. So you'll need to install Playwright, and then you'll need to install a browser called Chromium. And if you install it with Chromium with Playwright, then what was a headless browser? How many of you remember headless browser? No UI, without GUI. Yes, correct. No interface. Yeah. So that is uh, yeah, that is what a headless browser is. And if you do Playwright install Chromium, this will install a headless browser called Chromium, right? And with all of the dependencies that are required to run on your particular environment. It literally identifies the environment and whether it is Windows, Mac OS, or Linux on your particular environment, whatever the dependencies are required. And then you pip install browser use. Okay. Okay. We have already talked about API keys of Google AI Studio, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. Please note that just like crawl for AI, do not try to run browser use in Google Colab. Okay, you cannot run a browser from another browser, right? That does not make sense. Okay. In fact, let me uh, just don't try to run browser use in Google Colab. Okay. Can I do something like this? Will this work? Does this work in Colab? Yeah, no, it doesn't. Anyway, it works in VS Code, but okay. I'll explain what to do. Okay. Okay. So if you are running this in your local, then you won't have access to your Collab secrets, right? So when you're working with Gemini API key or any API key for that matter, you should always store it in a .env file. Okay, and you should save it like so. So you add this Gemini API key equals something something line in your .env file. Understood? Understood? So, how to run your first browser agent? Well, the code is going to be just like everything in Python. The code is going to be highly abstracted and it is fairly easy to do. So for example, all you need to do is import these two classes from browser use, import agent and chat Google. Why are we importing chat Google? What? To chat with the Gemini API key. Yeah. Okay. We will be using the .env library. Okay. This you may have to install this. This is not available publicly, but it's like pip install .env. Okay. You can search for .env in PyPy. And yeah, I think it's this one. No, you can do this .env. Okay. Anyway, coming back. And once you load .env, it loads your .env file, your .env file that you created securely. Okay. 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 Sir, I recently joined the course. What do you mean recently? Are you Parmeshwar? Are you there's a batch 2 coming up as well. Are you part of that? Please figure that out. Anyway, okay. So all you need to do is define the LLM. And again, since our API key is defined in the .env file, in chat Google, we just need to define the model. Okay. And then the task. Okay. With task is going to be a one-liner. Don't try to make it a really complex task. Keep it as simple as possible. Okay. And then the agent is defined with the agent class and then the task and then the LLM. Simple. Please explain. How many of you did not understand? Oh, okay. Okay. So we have, okay. So we have a class called chat Google, right? In this chat Google class, we have a model that we can define. Okay. Over here, we are defining Gemini 2.5 Flash. This will create or instantiate our LLM. Okay. Okay. The task is going to be just a one-liner. The thing that you want to do, the thing that you want the browser agent to do. Okay. And then the agent class is instantiated by passing the task and the LLM. That's it. These are the 3 lines of code that you need to remember, right? Sorry, let me just quit click. Okay. Then what you need to do is just how we were doing crew AI.kickoff, we are back to our .run command with agent.run. Okay. The history is something that we'll talk about in a bit, but for now, ignore just this part. Okay. And agent.run will run. Okay. Everybody understood? Yeah. So we'll talk about why we are using async await in a bit, but everybody understood this part. Okay. Now, Now, why are we doing async await? Because whatever task you will do, will it be done in one go? As we saw, it took nine separate actions, nine separate calls uh, to get it done. Yes, not parallelly. Yes, captcha, login, etc. All of these were many small tasks, right? So, not distributed computing, just asynchronous. Just that you get the response in a JSON file somewhere, and that's it. Okay. Okay. So if you remember, these were the 12 tasks that we were doing, right? So, and again, for in this particular problem statement, I literally just said search for software engineering jobs in India. Okay. And remember, this is creating the next task on its own. Search Google for software engineering jobs in India. Solve the reCAPTCHA, etc., etc. Select the images with motorcycles and verify. Okay. Try a different approach. Okay. Dismiss the sign in pop up on LinkedIn. All of these are separate tasks. Will they be done in a few seconds? No. It may take up to several minutes, right? Okay. That is why async await. Okay. Your 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 browser agent will literally notify your whatever system is calling the browser agent that some work is being done, and that's it. Now, when that work is done, the caller will basically get a notification that your work is done. Now come and get it. Right? Okay. Did that make a bit more sense? Did we pass the URL anywhere? We don't really need to pass the URL anywhere. It will figure out the URLs. It will figure out where to go on its own. Okay. Uh, it tell it once more, Aditya. What do you mean by it? Can I get like don't play the preposition game? It would be nice if you can define what is it? Okay. So, okay. I am assuming that the last part is uh, the asynchronous process. Okay. So async versus sync. I don't know how to type apparently, but yeah. Let's just do an analogy. Try to find out an analogy. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. Open image in new tab. Okay. So let's talk about synchronous processing, the left part for a bit. In fact, let me just try to hide the right part for a bit. No, it won't work. Ah, anyway, let's ignore. Okay. So on the left, we have synchronous processing where we have process A, it does something, then it calls process B. Okay. Okay. Now, process A will wait for the response from process B, but process B response will not be instantaneous. Okay, it will not be like you are not going or getting a response like right immediately. It will take some time. It is taking some time over here, right? Okay. So once it takes some time, only then process A can move ahead. So process B will take some time, then respond, then process A can move ahead. Okay. Asynchronous processing basically states that process A will do some processing, call process B. It will continue to do other work that may not be related to process B. And whilst process B is generating the response, it will try to finish that work and get a response and do whatever is required to be done with the response from process B. Is that understood now? Is it better? Okay. 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 So we will take maybe 10 minutes to discuss about history. And remember, what is history? It is nothing but the output of agent.run. Okay? Okay. So let's talk about the output. It returns something called the agent history list. Why is it called the history list? Why am I saying words like history, history list? Entire sequence? Use better words, Jayesh. To backtrack. Browser history stack, what does that mean? Because the agent would have gone to many URLs. Correct. Okay, good. Okay. Shivang is the correct, has given the correct answer because the agent will have gone through many URLs. So basically, the history function, history variable, this history variable is really, really powerful. The object is agent history list, right? And you do history.urls to get the list of visited URLs, history.screenshot paths. All of the screenshots that the agent has taken, they will have to be saved somewhere, right? Where what are those paths? If you don't want them as paths, then you have to get them as base 64 strings. So basically, there is a particular way you can save an image as a string. It's called base 64. If you don't know about it, definitely Google it. But yeah, it's basically image in a text format. Okay. Base 64 is not for encoding. That's not a good encoding method. Yeah. Um, Action names, what actions were taken. Okay. Then extracted content. From all of the actions, what content was extracted? Not from the actions, but actions produce some results. What was the extracted content from those results? Okay. Then if there were any errors, what was the list of errors? Okay. Then model actions, what was the model actions? Model is the LLM, model outputs, and the last action finally. So anybody who didn't understand any of this, Everybody understood this? Action like tapping, clicking, right clicking, closing a button. Okay, forward. What are we using history for? I'll explain what are we using history for in a bit. Okay. But right now, let's just understand what history is, and then I'll explain what are we using history for. Actions with parameters. What are parameters? Uh, so temperature, context window size, top P, top K, things like that, that you send to an LLM. Sir, is it same like history in Bash? No, Shiva, that's not it, because I'll showcase why is it not same. History is just a list of commands, but in this, history also has a lot of other things as well. So, what is the final result? Sorry, what is the final result? Okay, get the final extracted content, the last step. Is the process done or is it continuing? Is the process successful? Does it have errors? What are the, you have to use a thinking model for this, but what are the thoughts of the model? Okay, what are the results of the actions? What is the action history? Okay, how many steps were taken? What is the total duration of all the steps? Okay, so this is just FYI, this is not a finite list. In fact, this may be just 10% of what you can do with the agent history list object. I urge you guys to go through the help page of this particular object because it is massively extensive. Okay, then we'll talk about output. If you have defined a schema in the input, for example, find the number one post using this particular schema. Okay, then the structured output will be present. Okay, okay. So we'll go through some examples, and then I will talk about something called as web UI. Okay, so again, I don't see a lot of things to talk about in this basic search example. Search Google for what is browser automation and tell me the top three results. Again, the LLM is similar. The task is similar. The agent and await agent run is pretty much the same. Right? Yes, no? Okay. Then for form filling, and again, what you will notice is that for different tasks, the only thing that will change, can anybody guess? I was using Gemini Pro. Please don't use it. It will cost you money. Okay. I used it and I spent a lot of money, like about 1 hour ago. But yeah. So this whole project will be implemented in any code editor. Like, yeah. Okay. So what will change? You guys are not answering my question. What will change out of these three objects? What will change? Only the task. Okay. So in form filling, go to this particular post, right? Fill out the contact form with this particular details, then submit the form and tell me what response you got. The LLM is still the same. The agent is still the same and nothing else changed. It's just that when you are working with browser use or browser agents, you have to become uh, good with the defining the task. Okay. Use as few words as possible and then move ahead. Okay. Data extraction, again, nothing else will change, just the task. Go to http quotes to scrape.com and extract the first quotes on the page, the author of each quote, tag of associated with each quote, present the information in a clear structured format like quote text, so on and so forth. So this was data extraction. Okay. Then multi-step task list. Okay, so this will be a massive thing. So what we'll do is we'll take I want you to search for Python web scraping library, best Python web scraping libraries 2025. Find a reputable article or blog post about this topic. From that article, extract the top three recommended libraries. For each library, visit its official GitHub page. This is like multiple steps, right? Reputable, find the best web scraping libraries. Find a reputable article or blog post. From that article, extract the top three recommended libraries. Okay. For each library, visit the GitHub page and extract key information. So this is like 3, 4 steps in one. Okay. And again, nothing else changed other than the task. Okay. Okay. So I'll show you guys something. And then maybe you guys will believe me. But yeah, I'll show you guys something. So let's just do one of these tasks. Let's just copy paste this. And it's okay. I think I'll spend more money. And let's just restart. And so look at the UI that I am showing you guys. Okay. Okay. Uh, uh, I did not make this UI, and I just want you to focus on the UI for a bit. So I'll choose the Google one, 2.0 flash. I want to reduce the temperature. I want the planner to be also Google 2.0 flash. Maximum number of actions, maybe. Should I spend money? So let's just keep it in. Okay. Okay. And browser settings, headless mode. When you're using this for free, and you will be using this for free, don't change these two settings if you don't want your the key tokens to expire. Okay. And remember to click on headless mode. Okay. And yeah, I just searched, the GIF or the image that I showed you guys, PDF I showed you guys. So let's just delete it and let's just do another one. Okay, and let's just do submit task and let's see what happens. Is it not working? Yeah, it's working. So it went to the website. Can you guys see this? And it's entered the name, the telephone number, the email address. Now it's selecting medium. I think just now it selected extra cheese. You guys see the stick mark. Notice the preferred delivery time is blank. This is a test form submission delivery instruction. It's like magic almost, right? And it decided to get, it got a JSON and it decided that it will pretty print. Isn't that amazing? It's flickering because there are like 200 screenshots. Okay. Which interface is this? I'll tell you guys in 10 minutes from now. Please be patient. Okay. But isn't this amazing? And the it does not stop here. So you have all of your, why is it saying step 12? So so it's step 1. It's saying step 12 because of my previous request which had step 11. Okay. So you can ignore step 12 step. So we'll say step 12 is step 1. So in the step 1, I completed the task of searching for software jobs in India and extracting the job listings from LinkedIn. I have completed the previous task. The current task is to go to this particular website, fill the contact form with specific details, and then submit the response. And next goal is this, right? So the action is go to URL. URL is this. Okay. That's like absolutely amazing. Not only was it able to identify the goal and the action, but it also has a memory of the previous state. Isn't that nice? Okay. Then step 13, I successfully navigated to the form page. I need to fill out the form with these details. Now it's writing the details. And next goal, fill out the forms, actions, input text, index, text, John Doe. Input some text is the action. At what index? So if I try to open this image in a new tab, and if I just zoom this in, right? Uh, you guys see that the identifier, the bounding box identifier gives every box an index. Can you guys see this red 0? Can you guys see this red 0? Can somebody tell me? Yeah. And can you see this green 1? Right? And so this entire thing, including 1, is within 0. Similarly, 2 contains not just telephone but 3, right? So on and so forth. So it's saying that at index 1, I need to fill in text John Doe, which is absolutely genius in my opinion, because we didn't tell it where to fill what, right? At index 3, input this particular text. At index 5, input this particular text, right? No, in basic HTML, you combine these two items and create a widget. Okay. So it's not giving an index to padding and caption. It's giving an index to a group of elements in HTML. Okay. Okay. Then click element by index. So let's see what's the 10th index. So wait, sorry, wait. Yeah. Index 10 is this checkbox. Okay. So we want a medium size pizza. So we say index 10, click element. Click element at index 10. So again, remember, click element by index is an action. And when I say action, I mean literally an action provided by Playwright. Okay. Then click element by index 17. And I'm not going through everything. You guys can go through now. So, okay. Step 14, I have filled the form as requested. So let's just look at the filled form. Okay. And yeah, it looks interesting. I think, yeah, it's filled it correctly, in my opinion. Okay. And please note that submit order is the 26th button, right? So I've submitted. So it's evaluating my previous goal. Now I need to submit the form and report the response. So click, the action would be click element by index, which is index 26. John Doe is a name for a person. It's a standard name for a person we might not know the actual name of. Okay. Then we need to extract content. Okay. So yeah, and then it says done. Okay. Tokens duration 208 seconds, and this was a very small task, very small task, and it used 78,000 step tokens for the input. Output tokens are different. So do you guys think this is much more powerful than crawl for AI? Okay. But it does not stop there. You also have uh why is it showing the you also have, I should have refreshed this, sorry, my bad, but you also have the gif of the entire process, so it will basically contain all 15 steps rather than the just 3 4 5 steps. So I just added, so it assumes, it just assumes that this task, search for software engineering jobs in India, and this particular task, uh, which one? The, submit the form and give me the response, right? Uh, those two tasks are related, okay? And it literally stitches them together. So I should have literally opened up a new chat rather than using the same chat. That's my bad. But I hope you guys can see that this, yeah, the UI images still do exist even if you are running a headless browser. So now you see that everything is for the second request, and you have the GIF as well, and the entirety of the JSON as well. So if you download this, and I can I open this? Yeah, this is basically a base 64 string for the image, right? Screenshot. And it talks about all of the interacted. This is a really interesting JSON. I would love for you guys to go through it. Okay. Okay. Now, are you guys interested in knowing how to get to this UI? Uh, but first, you guys will have to answer one question of mine. What tool is being used for creating this UI? Answer is on the screen right now. Yes, Gradio. Okay, it literally says built with Gradio. Okay, okay. To go through this, to create this, you will have to uh, go through this a tool called Web UI. It is literally the easiest way to use browser use, and you won't really have to run the code that you have written over here or things like that. And to be honest, browser use, it's rare for a programmatic task to be automated with browser use, and it is literally generally not literally generally used for ad hoc tasks. Okay, so let's just open up this particular thing. Will this open? Yeah, so this is the web UI. Okay, and this is what I have used, right? And literally what you can do is just do a git clone. You will have to have git. Okay, Okay. And then all you need to do is go into the web UI folder that you clone with, that you have recently cloned, right? Now, this will contain an env.example. And let me just try to show you that. Just give me a second. I'll literally just remove my actual key, that is a paid one, and then show this to you guys. I will give you guys the GitHub link in a bit. Okay. I should have kept the UI open. .env, and let me just remove some content around my API key. Just let me just write the URL. Okay. Okay. So by default, let's just go back to the GitHub repository. Where is it? Yeah. By default, you have something called .env.example, right? All you need to do is set your API key over here. That's it. Okay. That is the entire amount of code that you will need to do. And if you see, this is what I had done. This contained the entire key, but right now I have removed it because this is a paid key, and I don't want to expose it. Okay. But yeah, this is all the code that you will need to do. Okay. Then comes our friend Docker. You guys remember Docker? You have to install it in your local. Okay. So once you are in this folder in web UI, and you have changed the .env.example. Yeah, but I said that I'll be using it only for the last project, but you don't have to do this particular thing. Okay. Okay. And you basically say that instead of .example, it will just be .env. Okay. You don't have to do this. There will be no submission around this. There is no mandate for you guys to do this. It's just that I find it the easiest way to do this, and you will well, you can not run this. Okay. Okay. Then all you need to do is run this particular command. Okay. If you have a Intel system, Intel machine, you run this command. If you have an ARM or Apple silicon based machine, you run this command. And then what you'll do is go to localhost colon 7788. And that's it. You will be able to use the agent. Obviously, you'll have to change this LLM provider from OpenAI to Google, uh, even the planner one as well. Try to never change these in case you are using a free API key, because then it will get exhausted. Okay, very quickly. In browser settings, just make sure that you have headless mode checked, and then when you run, you just start chatting with the bot, and every like I showed you guys, it will run properly. Okay. Okay, this is it. So what is going to be the submission for you guys? I know today's lecture is very small. ओके ओके करते कि हो गया फनी. ओके. सो all you need to do is run this basic search system and save the response somewhere instead of, so you'll have to just add one line of code, save the response somewhere, save the history somewhere, and give me uh where is it, history dot urls in a txt file, not in Colab, in local machine. Did I add that? Yeah, I did not add that. So let me just add it so that you guys don't forget. Run basic search example in your local machine and provide history.urls. Am I sharing the docker.yml file as well? I'm not using any docker.yml file as well. To set web UI, you can follow these commands as it is. You don't have to, do anything other than these particular commands. Okay. GitHub link is literally just this. I'll be sharing this the notebook. Okay. Any questions around the lecture? Any questions around the lung? Is it possible to tweak? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. The task. I just want the history.urls. Okay. What is free model to try out? You can try out Gemini. Other than Gemini, no, no. You should look at something called as Open Router. Uh, but setting it up in local is really difficult. It does give you some access, and it has really, really, uh, interesting features as well. Yeah, you can tweak the process if it gets it wrong. So again, the chat bot treats the next chat as a continuation of the previous chat, and you can say you got this wrong, you need to make it correct in this particular manner. Okay. Will it take more time to run than crawl for AI? No, it does not take as much time. It is taking lesser time. Okay. Do we have to add summary markdown in the file, or we need to change so that agent give? Not really. I do not. Uh, it, are you asking for the submission? What? Do we have to add summary markdown in the file, or we need to change the code so that agent gives some? No, you have to summarize. Okay, there are two questions happening. One is about the previous yesterday's submission, and one is about today's submission. So today's submission is literally just uh, run this basic search example, okay, in your local, and you will have a history. Okay, so this history will have history.urls. You just need to save it in the txt file. This is the submission for today. Okay. Okay. Then, if you talk about yesterday's, no, yesterday's submission, all I want you guys to do is summarize the output of the run. And it may be as simple as a txt file. You may use ChatGPT, but please at least understand the summary. So literally you can just copy cell output and try to understand whatever we have, whatever the output is, and summarize it in a linear chronological fashion. Collabs allowed? What do you mean by collabs allowed? About yesterday's submission or today? Today, collab will not work. Summary in your own words, right? Yes. Can you provide Google Drive folder link? No. Okay. To share the summary, why would you need to share it in Google Colab? I mean, you can, but there's no sense. It doesn't make sense. So just output we need to summarize and not complete code. Yes, just the output. So should we submit adding that as a markdown in the same notebook? That's completely your call, Shambhavi. I don't mind if you say share the output in a txt file or markdown file or anything else. Sir, GitHub पर readme.md कर सकते हैं? Yes, sure. Can we add? Yes, Camiseti Som, you can add summary at the last of this file and submit. Just make sure you like add like something like you change this to the something like summary. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Uh, I will be uploading the document as soon as possible and I'll be checking.